Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charlie. This is another church in Lancashire. This is St James's, Whitechapel, up in the fells of Lancashire. We don't know when this chapel was founded. We know that about the middle part of the 16th century there was a chapel here, and it was a private chapel belonging to a local family, and that's why so little is known about its origins. It was rebuilt in the middle of in the second quarter of the 18th century, in about 1738, if memory serves, and enlarged in 1818, and then subsequently enlarged again. At one point it incorporated the village school as well as being a chapel, a place of worship. It is today a parish church, but for much of its life it was a chapel serving scattered farmsteads up here, and it has given its name to this part of the area, which is Whitechapel, so called no doubt because the original building would have been whitewashed, and also it's a local stone, but really most likely because it was whitewashed. So we'll have a look around and explore some of this interesting, simple building. So as usual, we begin at the west end. The original chapel was built for the Threlfall family of Ashes Farm, located nearby. And having built the chapel for their own use, also their neighbours would have used it, and of course their servants and farm workers. And so eventually it became, by default, the place of worship for these scattered farms and farmsteads. We have a font. This is a Victorian font. This window here, although the stained glass in it is Victorian, the actual mullioned window itself is 17th century and will be, or the 18th century, and will be from that, or maybe even 17th century, and will be from earlier work on the chapel, so it's quite old. And the thing is, of course, 1738 up here, architecture is still looking a lot like it would have 100 years before, so it's hard to tell sometimes. We do know that it's renovated, reaches pretty much its current interior form of the church itself in 1891, but is thereafter altered. Nice roof. Again, this is a very simple building, partly because it's simple people, ordinary folk, and basically they're paying for what they have. Here we have the flag, the banner of the Girls' Friendly Society. This was a Church of England society for young women and girls. We've got the Lord's Prayer and the Creed. There's the other old window. And here we have the Ten Commandments. In the corner here, there's an old plan of the building as rebuilt in 1738. So you can see there, just there's a rear gallery, and that rear gallery had the school under it, which is why there's no seating shown under it. Pulpit against the north wall, and lots and lots of seating. It was a chapel at the time. It only later became a parish church, and then we process up the aisle in very, very simple, but as you see from the picture back there, it's a bit more complex than it was, because this whole chancel has been added in probably 1818, maybe 1890s, I think 18. Here's the pulpit. That's quite a nice carved pulpit, and it goes with the communion table and the rails. And a nice wooden lectern, obviously all there's a nice organ here. This is by, let's have a look, yes, by Ainscuff of Preston, because Preston's not, well, Preston's basically a local big town. There we are looking west, and you can see what a simple structure it is. We have here, this is a carved wooden memorial to a former organist. There's a little cupboard in there, and that door leads through then to the church room, to the effectively room for refreshments and such like. So here we have, and this is the Mothers' Union for Garstang Deanery, because of course Garstang is the local big-ish place. It's all scattered farmsteads here. There we have the reredos. Now the table here was carved by the Reverend Thomas Benn, who was rector here for 50 years, and his hobby was wood carving. And so he decided to use some timber cut down from his estate to make some things for the church. It's important to have a hobby. And we have Christ the Good Shepherd. This is very much a sheep keeping part of England. So that is the east window. Very good. We've got St. John and St. Stephen there. Interesting enough, not St. James, to whom the chapel is dedicated, but there we go. And there we are, looking west, and you can see the upper and lower windows showing where the gallery was. So those windows are going to be in situ, as they say. That is, they are where they were originally. And we move back down these very simple windows. And again, this presence of this single one at the end says to me, yeah, this is the end of the original building. It's been extended, whereas the others are all double. But these are 1818 windows. They're much less weathered than the windows at the west end. But it's a very, very nice west end, and yes, it had the schoolroom underneath, which suggests that the floor level has been raised there, that you've gone down into the schoolroom. So that is the inside here at Whitechapel. And so here we are outside at Whitechapel. It is raining a little bit when I'm recording this, so you may see raindrops. But this is, again, this very, very simple, long, low building. And you can see the nave is the original chapel. I say original, it's the rebuilt chapel from 1738. And the chancel is later. The porch would appear to be from the 1890s. So we'll have a look around and point out some of the interesting features. This, of course, the south side. The north side has the church rooms and such like on, which are actually rather interesting, so better point that out. And so here we are, this is the west end. I want to start here at the outside really, because you can see here the 18th century building. That gable end is basically 18th century. Then you've got this little bell cot above, and I apologise for the raindrop on the lens. I'll just try and clean it off. Raindrops will of course keep falling on my lens, but I'll do what I can to avoid it. So that is the 18th century west end. You can just see the vestry off there on the north side, and then that's now balanced by the porch, and both the porch and the vestry are going to be from 1890s, or maybe the porch even later, but they're certainly much later additions. You've got here the Lich Gate, which is of course Victorian, or later, and we've got the War Memorial. So it's a fairly big churchyard on the south side. This of course is the traditional place for churchyards. And here we have this long, low building, and that basically is the 18th century church. And then you've got the Victorian. It does look like that's the perhaps the 1818 bit is the chancel. Very simple, very impressive. And of course it's all farming folk, or would have been historically all farming folk around here. Still quite a very rural area, because we're up here on the fells, where up in the hills, and you can see this is autumn when I'm filming this, and I think it'll be January by the time this comes out. But there's the chancel, and there looking west. It's a lovely building, I mean, really is. Local stone, of course. And as we wander around here, you can see sheep in the field beyond the little garden shed. And then we'll stroll back to past the porch, and that nice little bell cot bell because you only need one bell. That is the sundial, very important back in the day. Not important these days. There's the War Memorial and the Lich Gate. Modern graveyard extension, sheep in the field. So there's the vestry. There's that window that shows where the school was, on the ground floor, under the gallery, of course. It was quite common in these places like this to find a gallery with a schoolroom under it, because the chapel, having originally been built at the expense of a local family, then becomes the centre of church life. You can see there's the church room there. That is next to the church hall, village hall. You can see it's had, I think in the 1990s they added that what they call the glass room, the conservatory basically. It's a very good idea. So that is the outside, and as you can see, it's raining a bit around here. And so there you have it, St James, Whitechapel, the eponymous Whitechapel. Not so white anymore, but it is still a very grand, a grand building for the area, except because this nice simple, ordinary Lancashire chapel, Church of England chapel, built by and for very largely the local people, and by the local people and very much for the local people. Of course, they've got their own school now, and so much has changed, but still at the centre of the community is little St James's. Well, thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until next time.